right. This is our community's house. We are all guests in it here to serve our community. My name is Mike Little, Mayor for the District of North Vancouver, and so the pleasure falls to me to welcome you all here to our regular meeting of Council for December 4th at 7 o'clock. We like to start off our meetings with, in a good way, with an acknowledgement. So Councillor Muri, would you start us off?
Thank you, Mayor Little. We respectfully acknowledge the original peoples of these lands and waters, specifically the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam, on whose unceded ancestral lands the District of North Vancouver is located. We value the opportunity to learn, share, and serve our community on these unceded lands.
Thank you very much, Councillor Muri. Council, we have an agenda that's been circulated. I have had to withdraw items 8.8 and 8.9 from the agenda for technical reasons, for notice reasons. And so I'd be proposing the agenda with 8.8 and 8.9 removed. Is there a seconder on that? Second by Councillor Muri. Discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. Okay, Council, we have some adoption of minutes within the agenda here. So we have the October 16th regular meeting of Council and the November 17th public hearing minutes that have been included in the package. Are there any errors or omissions from those minutes as presented? Hearing none, moved by Councillor Muri. Is there a seconder on the matter? Seconded by Councillor Ma. Call the question. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. Those items are now adopted. Okay, all right. Moving on with the agenda, we have the next item we have is public input. We reserve a period of up to 30 minutes at the front end of every regular meeting of Council for members of the public to share matters of interest to them. And so we have a speakers list that is started. We give priority to agenda items. I have nobody signed up to speak to agenda items tonight. And then I do have additional speakers. It looks like I've got 5 additional speakers at this point. We reserve the period for up to 30 minutes. And so once those 5 have spoken, I'll come back to the room and see if there are any other additional speakers to fill out that 30 minutes at that time, including virtual participants as well. If you want to raise your virtual hand, we'll address that. And so at this point, I'm going to move right into the public input. The first speaker I have is Blair Durnan, followed by Evan Tancredi. Blair is joining us here in person. Welcome. When you're comfortable, you have 3 minutes to address the Council.
It was actually 4 of us going. It's just a bit of a different order up there.
Okay. If you just let us know your name then, so we can attribute your comments to your name, that would be appreciated.
Sure. Is there a USB?
Yeah, it's just under the desk. Under the lip of the desk, you'll see a USB spot there. Isn't that right? And assuming it's PC, it should pop up immediately.
Is,
Apple is a little hit and miss.
Yeah, it's PC here. Let's see. How do we just start it?
I'm not sure. There's a button in the bottom right corner near the slider that starts the presentation.
Oh, there we go.
Slide. Just the one to the left of the slider. There you go. That's the one.
I'm not good at this stuff.
We'd get there.
All right, well, I'm not Blair. I'm Evan Tancredi.
Awesome.
I'm ready to speak whenever. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. It's great to see you all again today, and I would like to thank you for having us here today. As most of you are aware, we are the skaters of the North Shore and represent the collective interests of the North Shore and West Van skateboard community. My name is Evan, and today I'm with John, Mike, and Blair. As many of you know, we formed this group to try and stop the demolition of the beloved Lonsdale skate park. This was home for the local skate community and was renowned near and far. Despite all of our efforts, support from professionals and local businesses, as well as a petition that amassed over 4,600 signatures, we sadly saw the park go. But this event made us realize the importance of making sure there was a voice for all of those who relied on Lonsdale and skateboarding on the North Shore, not only for their physical health, but also mental and social health. Today, you can see some of the lovely faces behind me showing support. Skateboarding runs deep from children to teens, to mothers, to fathers, to sisters and brothers, and to even grandparents. You name it, skateboarding has it, and you can see that evidently today. We are also happy to tell you that since the last time we spoke with many of you, we have registered as a non-for-profit.
Oops,
Uh-oh.
there we go. We'll get there.
There we go. Okay. Today we're here to talk to you about one of the biggest problems that our community faces, which is nowhere to skateboard for nearly half of the year. And that means skate parks not getting used for an average of 172 days. On top of a large demographic not being able to do what they love, this also means district and city parks not being utilized to the full extent in which they could be. People that don't skateboard might not understand the reasons why you can't skateboard in the rain. To name a few, it's extremely dangerous as both the board and the surface become very slippery and put users at risk. On top of this, the equipment usually gets damaged from just a single use and it's unusable going forward. That's all I have to say today. Thank you very much for your time.
You got it, it's for the next one here?
Yeah.
My name is Mike Tancredi at 228 West Kings Road. So hello again, everybody. I'd like to reiterate our gratitude for having the chance to meet with most of you over the last few months. The messaging that we received from most of these meetings was encouraging, constructive, and sometimes a bit of a bitter pill. But there were two main threads that emerged. First of all, it was made clear that implementing a permanent covered space would be a long process that requires extensive planning and resources. Secondly, after discussing potential sites and reviewing covered structures like the Port Moody lacrosse box, which was built for about $1.5 million 10 years ago, it was suggested that we should consider options that were less extravagant and or expensive. We believe that we have found a stopgap or a seasonal solution that will meet the immediate needs of the North Shore skateboarding community while we continue to work towards more permanent solutions. One back, sorry.
My bad.
This image here shows the Klatskinnie, Oregon skate park that features a large semi-permanent tent covering. Our suggestion is to erect an enclosed 100 by 50 foot tent structure inside the current Kirkstone lacrosse box, which sits unused most of the winter and the rest of the year, and was actually recommended by park staff directly as a possible location over the other sites we looked at. The proposed tent, which you can go to here, is lockable, insurable, and made of fire repellent material. It can also withstand the winter rain and snow that we're all experiencing here tonight. And we have connections within our local community, namely New Line skate parks, that have used tents like this to protect their work sites in the past. Further to that, we have procured professional skateboarding structures from a recent international skateboard competition, 7 Gen, that we can set up inside this street park style layout, and is much similar to what was demolished at our beloved Lonsdale skate park. The budget for this is under $90,000, which includes the purchase, installation, and disassembly of the tent. If this does become an annual setup, the subsequent costs would be less because we would already own the tent and have experience setting up and dismantling it, which would reduce these costs overall. 19 seconds. The Kirkstone lacrosse box tent proposal has been discussed directly with the parks staff at the district, and we are currently working on a detailed proposal which would document the details and responsibilities for maintenance and liability. And with that, that's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Lundgren. I'll just kind of finish up where Mike left off here. So one of the nice things about the taking advantage of something at Kirkstone is that there is a plan to improve the lighting situation at the current Kirkstone skateboard park. And that would line up really well if we could actually take that power and just put a control box close to the existing lacrosse box. So it's an opportune time to do something like that. It's also worth mentioning that Kirkstone is a easily accessible location. There's parking, there's bus routes, there's all sorts of things like that. So I'll talk a bit about timeline. One of the most appealing things about the tent proposal is that we can implement it quickly. The detailed proposal document that we're making for parks staff will cover all of the details for assembly and disassembly. And we believe that if we had the resources here, we could get the tent in place in January 2024. We'd like to keep it up until June 2024 when the weather improves and becomes better suited to outdoor skateboarding. The tent could be disassembled and stored in a shipping container and ready to be reassembled the following winter. In terms of the use model, the obvious question is, well, how will this work? So we intend to follow an example that was set by our counterparts at the Vancouver Skateboard Coalition. So they have a thing they call the All Aboard program that happens at Granville Island. This is a photo here. So this is a covered space at Granville Island where they've set up a ramp, and you can see it's quite heavily used. It's a well-organized public project. It's currently in its 5th winter of operation. It relies on volunteers from the Vancouver skateboarding community to open and close the ramp and be present during sessions that are booked ahead of time using an online calendar. Our calendar will include exclusive booking times for community-driven groups such as Spectrum Skateboarding Society, the Late Bloomers Skateboarding Club, and the Real Hot Skate Moms. We have long espoused the North Shore community of skateboarders, and this is the opportunity to demonstrate how our community can support a project like this.
Thank you. My name is Blair Durnan. Hello, Mayor and Council members. My name is Blair Durnan, and I'm the founder and executive director of Spectrum Skateboard Society. I live in Lynn Valley with my 2 boys and my partner, Julie. And since Lonsdale Skate Park was torn down, we now call Kirkstone our home park. I'm here tonight to speak on the benefits this covered space would have for community groups like Spectrum. We are a local North Vancouver nonprofit, and our mission is to provide safe, fun, and inclusive skateboard camps designed specifically for autistic children and youth ages 6 to 17. Spectrum Skateboard Society was born out of the lack of recreational and sporting opportunities for autistic children and youth to participate in. Team sports such as soccer and hockey are more often than not a struggle for neurodivergent children due to the high levels of anxiety and the inability to register and respond to social cues and norms, which can lead to the perception that they're not interested or listening and come across as strange, which in turn can lead to bullying. This is not to say that neurodivergent children can't participate in sports. They thrive in individual type sports such as skiing, snowboarding, swimming, and especially skateboarding. Spectrum Skateboard Society's goal is to not just learn skateboarding skills, but to help these kids with positive social and communication skills. Skateboarding is an individual sport, but there is also a great sense of feeling that you're part of a team and a community. In a skate park, everyone is watching out for one another, everyone is encouraging each other, and if you're struggling with a particular trick or skill, someone will always be there to offer any advice. These are a few of the skills on top of skateboarding that we try to teach as well. With skateboarding, there are no rules or boundaries. It's very affordable. There is no one telling you you're doing it wrong, and the best part is no one loses. But we only have a few months of the year to offer our service to the North Shore communities due to a lack of indoor covered spaces. I was even approved and granted the Municipal Community Service Grant to be used to help pay for a winter space for our program, but unfortunately I will be returning the funds due to a lack of support from various North Shore agencies in accommodating our program. Therefore, we have had to move our service to Vancouver where indoor opportunities exist. There are a number of community groups in Vancouver that have expressed interest in utilizing a covered facility in North Van. The Late Bloomer Skateboard Club is a group of beginner adult skateboarders that meet up at different parks in Vancouver. They utilize the Coalition Green Ramp on Granville Island during the winter, but it's only operational until mid-January. The Real Hot Skate Moms is an inclusive group of later skaters who meet up and skate together. They also use the Green Ramp, but again, only until mid-January, and they're keen to find another place to keep helping their older skaters. It's not just Spectrum, Late Bloomers, and the moms that will benefit from this. With this facility, North Shore youth will have the opportunity to organize skateboarding events such as contests and meetups, hold special events, create new clubs and new lasting friendships. This facility will also bring other skaters and families to the North Shore, which in turn will benefit our amazing local businesses. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll consider this project over the holidays, and we look forward to speaking with you again as a delegation in the new year.
Thank you very much. The next speaker I have is Graham Alexander.
Congratulations to Cam McGregor. Who's Cam McGregor? Oh, I see you, man. You're amazing. Well, let's see. Okay, well, I haven't seen you.
All right.
Thanks, guys. All right. Thanks, everybody. This here, as I meeting with a lot of mayors across North America. So I'm just going to put this up here, if you don't mind here. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Graham Alexander. I am the founder of GGIQ Developments and Stay Runners. I wanted to, first of all, say thank you for this moment in time where I'm going to present to you guys a very historic development, which we have done to solve the homeless crisis around the globe. I'm from the District of North Vancouver, and I want to start it here in my own backyard with you wonderful councillors who have all campaigned to solve two major issues. One is a traffic issue, and number two, the homeless and giving people shelter or construction. Now, I have talked to three key people in the government. I've talked to the head of Ministry of Health, as well as I have a proposal to the BC Housing. And I'm coming here to you today to completely say no to that project, which is regard supportive housing. Now, I've sent you all a presentation. Who has seen the presentation that I've emailed? Herman Ma, have you seen that I've given to you, sent you?
Carry on with your presentation.
Okay, so basically here it is. That project needs to go because you're bringing drugs to the North Shore. And I've talked to some of these guys and they're saying, there's no way we want an East Vancouver here. I have a solution and I have it right here in front of you. And I've given everyone a chance to take a look at it. It solves the homeless problem because we're going to look at areas where the homeless can have shelter, but at the same time, Mr. Mayor, they can do it where there's no families and no businesses. This is very, very key because East Vancouver started with supportive housing, and guess what happened? You have a nightmare that's happening in Vancouver, and there's no solution. If you guys bring that project here, what's going to happen is there's going to be druggies everywhere, and that's a big issue. So I've come up with a solution that I strongly believe that this council, who has really worked hard for the voters to say, look, enough is enough. Let's solve the two key issues. Jordan Back, you campaigned on this. Catherine Pope, I know you have a family, you have a child. You don't want drugs in your neighborhood. Jim Hansen, you're a lawyer and a smart guy, and you know for a fact that having lawless people having drugs in a community, which I was the first developer to invest $50 million of investors' money to prove that this community can get things done. Now I have a development. It's taken 6 years to get through. 6 years. This project cannot go ahead because there's a laneway that you guys have to figure out first before you can go ahead. Now take a look at your presentations. Lisa, please take a look. You're into environment. This solves the traffic issue, and this solves a lot of other issues. Betty, you also have a family. And I'm talking from my heart. This is all about giving the homeless encouragement, giving them a place to stay. Give me 1 more minute.
If you could draw to a close, please.
I'm coming to a close, but this is very important because you campaigned on this, and I really want you to make the right decision. History can be made right here. I either do this in the District of North Vancouver, or I do this in Vancouver, and if I have the support of at least 4 councillors, we can make this happen. All right? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for your time. Okay, would anybody else like to address the public input period? Please. And that includes virtual participants. If you want to raise your virtual hand, we can include you here.
I gotta get my signer, sorry.
What does the sign say?
Great.
This is, you're amazing.
And then I do see 3 virtual hands as well, so that will probably complete our time. So welcome. If you could start with your name, I'd appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Danielle Dennis. Do I have to tell you where I live? Okay, good. I am a small business owner here on the North Shore. And recently I just celebrated 2 years of sobriety. I am also a skater. I've been skating for the last 12 years, and I just wanted to share my experience with the sport. Something that I don't think has, something that maybe hasn't been mentioned this period is, well, my experience when I go to the skate park is I don't really get to interact a lot with the youth. I'm 32 years old now. I might be young, but it is really interesting to interact with young girls and young boys. And in my life, I don't really have other opportunities to do that. So now that I'm coming into my own, celebrating sobriety, really trying to be a role model for the youth, I find skate parks a really important place for our community to see role models. And I just kind of wanted to point that out, that it's something that can be missing in the wintertime. It's dark out, super early, and kids, I mean, like the youth who like to skateboard maybe don't have that sport accessibility in the wintertime, so they can kind of like get lost. Anyway, I just wanted to share my experience, and I hope you give us a place to skate in the wintertime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next speaker I have is Hazen Colbert, followed by Corey Cost, and I believe I saw a hand with Renell is the virtual name. Hazen Colbert, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mayor Little. Yeah, I think you can hear me too.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Welcome. You have 3 minutes to address the council.
Mayor Little and Council, I was going to talk about something and I will get onto it, but I want to say that I am incredibly impressed with the presentations that have been made tonight by the skateboarding organizations. I have to say, in fact, I'm almost left speechless. And I think you guys all know that never happens. These presentations, I didn't know they were coming. They are outstanding. And I absolutely congratulate every person, absolutely every person in the chambers tonight for an outstanding argument in favor of enclosing the lacrosse pitch at Kirkstone, which, and by the way, in case anyone does not know, I live less than 50 meters away from it. And I'm there because I walk my dog through Kirkstone at least twice a day. I'm there at least twice a day, and I've been there twice a day since 2009. What I want to go on now, and so thank you guys, because I think I'm really impressed. What I want to go on to say is this. I am aware that the District of North Vancouver has a preliminary application for the redevelopment of what we call locally here in Lynn Valley, the Dairy Queen Plaza. Regrettably, for reasons which are not understood, that preliminary application has not yet made it to the DNV website. Now, unlike the Safeway application, which 2 years ago didn't make it to the DNV website until I asked why it's not there on November the 1st, and I asked it because it was already on the Crombie REIT website. This particular preliminary application is it's owned by Polygon, which is a private company, which generally doesn't have to disclose certain information. With one little bit of an exception, which is when Polygon is seeking financing for something, the financing actually shows up in various databases that actually come to me. So I know there's a preliminary, and I have to make this clear. I know with 100% certainty there is a preliminary application in with planning at the DNV. And all I'm asking you guys is, why don't you put it on your website? That's all I'm saying. And Mayor Little, please, when we close here, just don't say, thank you, Mr. Colbert, for your input. I'd like to know why you don't put something on your website that, in fact, for certain people, we can actually find through other sources. Thank you for listening to me.
Both, thank you for your comments, Mr. Colbert. I do say that for everybody. I do appreciate the public taking the time. But I will check in with our staff and find out what stage that is at and where we would normally publish that. And we'll be supportive of following that process. Next speaker I have is Corey Cost, followed by Renell. Corey Cost, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Your Worship. I'm just sharing the screen, so I don't, you can follow what happened in the previous meeting at the special meeting of council. So I have some comments on the special meeting. For example, the movement to get the earlier approval, which is the idea is to have these capital plans discussed quite a bit earlier in the year than usual. I do not understand the logic because it seems unnecessary when the capital plan is essentially what it was last year. So people know all about it already. I don't see the rationale for having to rush it in any way. Secondly, the infrastructure renewal that's been set aside to 1% extra taxes for the last 13 years or so. So there's a huge amount is now going into this fund every year. It's not just 1% every year, it's 1% compounded. So right now it's at a level, which is 13 to 15% higher than it started. And should already have accounted for the backlog. So the figure that was given by staff just contradicts the overall plan of this kind of project. The fees have already been far increased above inflation. And I really do predict that the resident exemption for paid parking in our parks will ultimately disappear. The exemption will disappear. Taxes just have a habit of growing. So I warn council about that aspect. We do need some clarity of just how much our debt payments has been for the past 20 years and will be for the next 5 years. Of the proposed 7% tax increase, I'd like to know how much is due to the failure of, or maybe not, of the development not to pay its own way, or due to the recent BC legislation changes on housing. It'd be nice to get some clarity on that aspect. And when will we know the increase in the sewage charges, which could be quite large? You really can't plan budgets without that big elephant in the room. 2 more points. You need a clear document on the state of our infrastructure over the last 15 years, so we can see where those extra 1% compounded for the last 13 years have gone to. And finally, installing a new search engine on the district website should be a simple overnight or no more than an over weekend task and not take months. I'm quite familiar with this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Corey Cost. The next speaker I have is virtual participant Renell. Renell, can you hear me? Renell, I see you as unmuted, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Is it possible that your microphone is muted as well? Because in the Zoom system, you appear to be unmuted. Now it says connecting to audio, so I'll try again. Hello, Renell, can you hear me? I can hear myself feedback, but. Okay, one last time. Renell, can you hear me?
Yes, my apologies,
Yes.
everyone.
Welcome, I
our
can hear you
audio issue
clearly.
has been resolved.
Good.
I just wanted to express how thrilled we are to see a local nonprofit skateboarding coalition impact on our community, especially seeing as that it is in line with our officials on economy and employment. This coalition seems skateboarding. It's about creating opportunities for our youth, fostering our local economy. So I think by giving them a platform for skill building and organizing event talent, they're not only nurturing a thriving skateboard culture, but also contributing to growth. So we fully support this coalition's move towards creating covered skate park in the future. It's an investment in our community's economic vitality. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Renelle. Okay, we've had about a half an hour of public input, so at this point, I'm going to move on with the regular meeting of the council. You don't have to stay, but I'll tell you, it's probably not going to be a long meeting, but I get it. I get it. Good night. And back to our level of public for the capital budget meeting we had earlier. That's right. All right. All right, council, we have release of closed meeting decisions. Those are several appointments for different advisory committees. That's just included in the agenda for the public's benefit. We don't have to make a decision on that. And then also the closed special meeting councils included for the public's benefit. Again, don't have to make a decision on that. The regular meeting of council, I've noted that quite a number of the items in there are up for adoption. They're not up for debate. I'd be proposing a consent agenda of 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, and 8.5. All of those items are up for adoption. No, 8.6 has been requested to be pulled. Yeah, all of those items are up for adoption. If any member of council would like to withdraw an item from that list. If not, I'll be moving that consent agenda, seconded by Councillor Muri. I'll prepare to call the question on the matter. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. So we have consent for items 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, and 8.5. And for people joining us late, items 8.8 and 8.9 have been withdrawn from this evening's agenda, which leaves the bulk of our discussion time to be on 8.6, 8.7, 8.10, and 11. And so I'm going to move on to item 8.6 at this time. This also is an item that is has gone through public process already, and it's up for adoption. At adoption, we don't have debate. And so the matter is up. I'll be moving adoption. Is there a seconder on adoption? Second by Councillor Hanson. I'll call a question. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries with Councillor Muri opposed. Okay, on to item 8.7. This is probably the meatiest of the agenda items that we have for tonight. This item is returning from a public hearing for second and third reading discussion. This is the first opportunity for the council to have make their arguments and share their reasons for or against this particular project. At this point, I see Councillor Hanson's hand is up first. You have a motion for us to consider, Councillor Hanson?
I'll move the recommendation that it proceed to second and third reading.
Thank you. Is sorry that it
Proceed through second.
Granted second and third reading.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Back. Councillor Hanson, your comments.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm pleased to support this particular rezoning to permit 32 townhouses on the existing 4 single-family lots. I note the history of this proposal. A very similar proposal to this was defeated at the adoption stage after the 2018 election. Since then, in my view, the mood of the Edgemont community has changed. There is less active developments currently underway, less development fatigue, and a greater openness to this proposal proceeding in this form at this time. I have no illusions that this proposal will create affordable housing. However, it appears to be the best option for this site at this time. I don't believe at this point it makes sense for us to continue to wait for better, more affordable proposals or proposals that have a greater proportion of rental in sites of this type. I think this is the best we're going to do. And the 32 units are certainly going to be improvement on the 4 single-family homes that are currently there in terms of housing in the district. I note the virtual unanimous support from the public for this proposal at the hearing, which certainly wasn't the case going back to 2018. I also note that the proposal calls for $772,000 in community amenity contributions, and I hope that this money can be earmarked towards affordable housing and make at least a small difference in that respect. I also note the development cost charges in the amount of $420,000. So with those comments, I'm happy to support this going through second and third reading.
Thank you very much. Councillor Back, your additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Little. I won't repeat Councillor Hansen's comments. I agree with all of his comments and around the project. Just want to comment on one of the green initiatives as part of the project. It will be designed to a passive house standard. So that'll be exceeding step 4 of BC Energy Code, making it a fossil fuel-free development. And that it was, as Councillor Hansen has said, largely supported by the community. And it does provide not affordable housing in the sense of the lower end of the market or non-market housing, but it will deliver a form of housing that is much more attainable to folks versus a single family home. One of the concerns we heard in the public hearing was some of the access off of Ayer Avenue, and making sure that the traffic management plan is just cognizant of all of the other traffic that accesses the Grosvenor development off of there, as well as the Capilano Suspension Bridge parking that will be happening there. So that was really one of the only concerns that we heard. There was large support from the community, including the community association. One speaker mentioning how it is in line with the Edgemont Village Plan as well. So I'm happy to support it tonight.
Thank you very much. Next speaker I have is Councillor Mah.
Thank you. My comments are similar to my council colleagues that preceded me in speaking, but I would like to add that the proposal does call for 4 2-bedroom enhanced accessible units, which I believe would be highly valued in this community. The 3 stories and the 32 units is not excessive in this community. And it does replace 4 aging homes. For those reasons, I will support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Just my own comments on the matter. Obviously, we're trying to seek affordability where we reasonably practically can. With a project of this size, it's hard to extract the additional types of financial benefits. The prices that we're seeing in this neighborhood of 1.7 to 2 $1,700 to $2,000 a square foot make this neighborhood particularly unaffordable and very hard to accommodate, because even 10% off of new doesn't bring you into the realm of affordable, and 20% off of new doesn't really bring you into the realm. And so the amount of contribution you'd have to make from the public in order to be able to produce affordability in this space makes it very difficult. And so I did not have that as one of my expectations out of this. I think we are getting some public benefit out of this with the types of units and the accessibility features as was mentioned. It is in line with the local area plan, which still is in a bit of conflict with the OCP generally speaking in that area, which is why you still have an OCP amendment that has to be done with this. But I will be supportive of it. I do think that this close to the village, it makes sense for people to have slightly smaller living spaces. They've got transit outside and it is a very walkable neighborhood with services well within reach. And so it makes some sense to support that. So I will be in favor of both the OCP amendment and the rezoning bylaws for this site. I see no further speakers at this time. Prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Council. Next item up for discussion is item 8.10. This is the proposed amendment to Schedule A of the Development Services Servicing Bylaw. I've had it characterized from staff as a fairly housekeeping item in that we're not allowed to use the particular phrase lock block anymore. We have to change the way it is defined in the system. Mr. Joyce, do you have any additional comments on that aspect of it?
I do not, Your Worship. It's just an infringement issue that we were made aware of through our legal department, and so we've simply changed the word and to modular, but it doesn't change in the intent or costing or anything that relates to the bylaw.
Okay, so it's because it's trademarked term, so it shouldn't be listed under its trademark name. It should be listed under more of an industry feature name rather than trademark name.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Okay, I'll be moving the recommendation, second by Councillor Muri. Prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. And setting probably a record for our council here, we're on to the last item. Well, I'm hoping to look for you to move this item, Councillor Muri. But item 8.11, this is the committee policy amendments. I know this has gone through the Advisory Oversight Committee, moved by Councillor Muri. Are there any additional seconder? Is there a seconder on the matter? Seconded by Councillor Back. Any other comments from staff on the matter? Then, as the chair of AOC, any comments of your own?
He has been working closely with our deputy municipal clerk on changes to streamline our council appointments to committees, our municipal advisory committee policy amendments, and standardized terms of reference to make it more clear and understood. We're working on some more changes that will come forward in the new year. One addition that I just want to draw council's attention to is our orientation manual that Ms. Lanz has put together. The clerk's department has put that together, and it's an opportunity to be able to help committee members, chairs, vice chairs, sort of understand the process, the municipal process, and help them and assist in the structure of the committee. I know that the clerk's office is going to reach out to all of the committees in the new year as well and offer any assistance that they can have with, helping out with the structure of how a meeting is run to support the chairs and the vice chair. And they look forward to engaging.
Thank you very much. Both Councillors Back and myself also sit on the committee or support the committee. Councillor Back is the seconder. Your comments? Nope, no additional comments. Any other member of council wishing to comment on? Prepared to call the question. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries.
Is there a spider over there?
Some flying thing.
Something.
Is it a
fell on my
mouse?
desk. No, it was just a fly in this case. It was a large beetle of some kind, but yeah, that's right. Council, and I'll start with the CAO. Mr. Stewart, do you have any additional reports you'd like to make for the public meeting? Okay, and then on to council, any additional reports that you would like to make? I wanted to just start off and make a quick comment about the parade of trees lighting ceremony that a number of us participated in yesterday. It was very special to see Maureen Bragg recognized as Citizen of the Year by the Lynn Valley Community Association. She has been a lifelong advocate in our community. Specifically, I remember obviously lots of things Lynn Valley, but even beyond Lynn Valley, she's been a key member of the Save Our Shores, which is trying to retain public access to beach space and beach access throughout the District of North Vancouver, and has been a tireless advocate in that area, fighting for and successfully getting a number of key public connections to the beach, particularly in the between Wickenden Park and down into Deep Cove, that area. So it was great to have her out and have her recognized for her contribution. Her daughter was there to support, and the crowd gave a bunch of applause and recognition for her contributions to the community. Was very much appreciated. The event itself saw 73 sponsors show up to sponsor trees and support creating a really vibrant Christmassy space in the community. So the plaza at Lynn Valley encouraged people to go and check out the different trees and sponsors, and you can actually vote on your favorites so that they can be celebrated and recognized as the season goes on. But it's a very nice way to illuminate the public sphere there, which in these dark and rainy days tends to get a bit dark, but it's with all the Christmas lights there, it's perfect. So I encourage people in the community to head out and visit that. Councillor Forbes, you have a report to make?
Thank you, Worship. I just want to let everybody know that Edgemont and the Upper Capilano Community Association with the elementary schools in the area, Mont Royal, Cleveland Highlands, and Canyon Heights, this Friday is holding a students decorate, well, everybody, but students are coming from those schools to decorate 4 Christmas trees that Edgemont Village is putting up. This is the first time that they've done this. And so I just want to, it'll be at the corners of Edgemont Boulevard and Highland. And I just wanted to really encourage people to go out. It's on Friday from 1 to 3.
Fantastic. Friday from 1 to 3. Sorry, what? I missed the location on that. The Edgemont Boulevard and Highlands. I think it's also probably important to mention that the Parkgate Winter Lights is also going to be on Friday afternoon. That's at about 5:30. The Christmas tree lighting taking place. So you can visit both of them. You don't have to pick one. But again, that'll be, I think, hot chocolate and music and dance and a great community event taking place at Parkgate as well. And I was trying to find the date. I don't have it on spot. Maybe someone here can help for the winter market in. I know they've got it up and running already. The Lions, Lynn Valley Lions has their space up and running inside Lynn Canyon Park. Do we know what time when that's on till? Because it's already started.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, I think it's till they're sold out. I think I read that they were at 75% of the trees already sold.
Okay.
But it's ongoing right up until the holidays, I believe.
Again, really great opportunity to take the kids out for a cheap, family-friendly event there. You can go and make some wreaths and check out what the park looks like with a bunch of Christmas lights as well. Councillor Muri, you have a report?
I was just going to add on Christmas events that Friday, December 8th is the Carol Ships and that will come into Panorama Park, and parks are hosting the bonfire, and they used to actually even have a chestnut little stand. I don't think they do that anymore, but the fire department will be down there doing the bonfire, and the ships will come in 6 to 8.
Busy night on the 8th. There you go. Okay, any other reports, council? Hearing none, we've concluded the meeting. I'll accept adjournment. Thank you very much, Councillor Muri, accepted. So just want to say thank you to the staff that prepared the reports for our consideration this evening. Thank you to members of the public for coming out and sharing their comments. Nobody would believe it. We had a full house literally 15 minutes ago, but just want to thank council for taking their time and deliberations on these matters. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Good night.